Welcome back into the Sports Center of Connecticut as we're just about a couple minutes away from the puck drop between the St. Michael's Purple Knights and your Post University Eagles. So with that, let's bring you tonight's starting goaltender matchup. First for the visiting Purple Knights, it's the senior netminder out of Plymouth, Minnesota, Annika Lavender, making her 16th start of the year. So far this year, she's 1-14-0 with a .484 goals against average and a 91.1 save percentage. She is second in the conference in saves, though, however, so still some pretty impressive numbers to back her up. Not getting a whole lot of help defensively is Lavender so far this season. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, it's their backup netminder, the sophomore out of Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada, Devin Amundsen, making her 5th start of the season. She's also averaging a 4.45 goals against average and a 91% save percentage so far this year. A good opportunity to see what Amundsen's got in between the pipes. As we mentioned in the pregame, Hannah Saunders missing her first game, or really just resting her first game in the last 15 straight for the Eagles. So some pretty impressive numbers for her. As the clock ticks down to just about a minute, and we got both the squads waiting here at center ice, let's give you the starting lineups today for the visitors. It's their third line forward group starting: Alicia McDonald, Anna Gerolo, and Lexi Soon. Defensively, it's Victoria Fitzgibbon and Julia Shadle, the top line pairing, and of course the aforementioned Lavender in net. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, their top line forward group: Noonan, Devlin, and McCavicus. Karis Kale and Callie Peterson are your top line defense pairing for Post University, and as we mentioned, Devin Amundsen will get the start in net for Post. Both these teams looking to get right a little bit. The Eagles so far 1-3 throughout the new year, looking to end a 3-game losing streak. Purple Knights looking to get their first goal in their last 3 games, winless so far in the new year. In fact, haven't gotten a win since early October. That came against LIU of all people, one of the better teams in the conference this year. Eagles in their classic home white jerseys. Jody Rose at center ice, ready to take the face-off. Meanwhile, the Purple Knights in their road purple jerseys with gold trim. Fans, skaters making some noise here. We're just about ready to go after a long build-up at center ice. The puck is dropped, and we are underway here in Shelton. Gerolo won that faceoff for the Purple Knights, with the Eagles taken right into the offensive zone themselves. Both these teams looking to get a little more offense going as of late. And we'll see if the Eagles can do just that on their first true possession of the game, so to speak. Instead of that, actually, St. Mike's turns it over, and now they come the other way, moving right to left on your screen. Decides just to dump it in. Timmery Grom's going to pick it up for Post University, and Callie Peterson back to play it behind her own net. Just a feeling out process to get started in this game, as is typical in the new hot. We'll see how much offense we can get from both of these squads. It's a good interception there from McGillis. Pass into the slot, but Gerolo just wasn't able to handle it and get it on net there. Great opportunity. Probably one of the better ones we'll see all day for either side. St. Mike's isn't able to capitalize at first. They reset back in their own zone behind the net of Lavender. Lavender, over her last 3 games, has been pretty hot, but she's also seen over 40 shots a game during that span. McCavicus gets the Eagles' first shot on goal, deflected a couple of times, rebound chance, and Lavender makes the save. Eagles still with possession, back out towards the top. Bouncing puck never reaches the net, and finally, the Purple Knights are able to clear the zone. McCavicus back to Zoner. Zoner looking to get past the blue line, just decides to dump it in, and it's intercepted by St. Mike's defender. Post takes it right back, however. Devlin in the slot has it taken away from her. Now a battle going into those far boards behind the net of Lavender. Puck still loose in the defensive zone as St. Mike's. Nobody able to clear, and the Eagles retain possession. Back up towards the top, looking for Emma Hain. Pass just left a little too long, trickles all the way back, and the Eagles will have to reset. Just about 2 minutes gone here in the first period. Still not a whole lot of stats to talk about on either side. Eagles looking to get out of their defensive end, but you see the Purple Knights going heavy on the forecheck here. Hetman in that far corner for St. Mike's turns it over, and Tristan Curry picks it up. The Eagles send it all the way down the ice, and that's going to be an icing here with 17:48 left to go in this first period. Well, we've mentioned it, man. 0 goals in the last 3 games for St. Michael's. They're getting outscored 0-13 in that stretch. How about this other stat for you? 1 goal in their last 12 games for the Purple Knights, getting outscored 1-77 throughout that stretch. So it's a little bit of pressure on post. You don't want to be the next team to give up that goal, so to speak. And good opportunity once again for St. Michael's. That time Lexi Soon tried to take the slap shot close to the net, but I believe it hit an Eagle defender. Now it goes back into the Eagles' offensive zone, chasing after it, Riley Patfield. Patfield sends it around the boards. Soon picks it up for the opposition, tries to clear the zone, but Mitchell takes it over instead. Mitchell dancing around, decides to send it in deep. Caitlin Allion, one of the first times we're saying her name today, was able to take it away from Ruby Mitchell. St. Michael's sends it back the other way. Anna Bernaire goes to grab it back in her own zone. Bernaire gets past a couple of defenders, and now a foot race for it. Ends up going Julia Shadle's way for St. Mike's, but pretty impressive play for Bernaire. Now Shadle with a head of steam. She takes a long shot, saved by Devin Amundsen, one of her first big tests of the night. Back into that far corner it goes. Battle for it between two Purple Knights and two Eagles. St. Mike's does come away with it back up towards the blue line, and that shot got deflected wide of the netting. Kyler Weatherhead picks it up. Weatherhead looking for her teammate up the line, finds it into the slot. Now back up to the point. Julia Shadle tries a long wrister. Amundsen makes the save once again into the far corner, and Anna Bernaire goes to pick it up. Karis Kale drifting through neutral ice for Post University. 2-on-2 forming for the Eagles. The rest of her team getting a line change in. St. Mike's has a similar idea. Heavy collision over right in front of that St. Mike's bench. Eagles try to take advantage going the other way. Jet Devlin showing off some of her speed. Head of steam into the offensive zone, but not able to get past a St. Mike's defenseman there. Back towards the blue line. Peyton Tully finds Karis Kale now to the far end here. It's Tallulah Cameron. She takes a tough angled shot, and that one bounces wide. Don't believe it ever reached the net of Lavender. Coming up the other way, Brianna Jarvis looking to get around Karis Kale, but gets pinched by a couple of defenders. Ends up getting a shot on goal there, but Amundsen with the easy save. Boy, some good action from St. Mike's early in this game. Aggressive and getting some shots on goal, even as the away team. A long attempt there from Merkavicus, an easy stop from Lavender. Swings around the boards and up the boards and out of the defensive zone of the Purple Knights. Fitzgibbon with basically a half-court heave there for St. Mike's, easily gobbled up by Amundsen. We have yet another stoppage here. 15-18 left to go in this first period. Taking a look at some of the stats so far, shots on goal total. Well, St. Mike's is actually leading it 3-2 early and make it 4-2 actually after that most recent Fitzgibbon attempt. They win the offensive zone faceoff here. Fitzgibbon has it on her stick, looking to settle it down, ends up losing it to Lily Zoner. Now Zoner sends it back behind her own net, and Emma Hain trying to reset things for Post University. Mentioned Hain in our pregame show, how red hot she's been. Had her 4-game point streak snapped in the Eagles' last matchup against Franklin Pierce. Boy, defensive zone turnover for the Eagles and a dangerous opportunity, but Hetman just couldn't get a handle on it in the slot. Goes back behind the net of Amundsen once again. And Boydchuk goes to pick it up for St. Mike's. Decides to send it once again in deep for the opposition. And right now, the Purple Knights just doing a good job of keeping the puck on that side of the rink. See if the Eagles can change that around here with Kai Hyatt. Hyatt looking to find a lane. Barely gets into the offensive zone. Curry picks up the loose puck. Eagles still trying to keep it in, and finally it just trickles past that blue line. Patfield deciding to send it in deep as the defense pairing gets a change in for Post University. Meanwhile, the visitors reset here. Long up ice pass doesn't work out, intended for Lexi Soon. Referees say it was tipped, so no icing's going to be called here. Now the forecheck proven to be good for Purple Knights. McGillis couldn't get the handle on it, no shot off, but McDonald picks it up. Alicia McDonald dancing around the blue line, hands it off to her teammate. Back to McDonald. From the slot, tried the shot, got blocked by Jody Rose. Loose puck over in the near corner. And the Eagles end up picking it up. It's Jody Rose once again, gets manhandled down to the ground by the bigger Alicia McDonald, but Rose does a nice job just to keep the puck moving in that direction. I think the puck got stuck somewhere, so we'll have a face-off at center ice. Didn't really see where the puck went there, but either way, it'll be a neutral zone face-off, and both the squads here getting an entire platoon swap off. The Eagles win the neutral zone face-off. Callie Peterson picks it up, dumps it into the offensive zone. Fitzgibbon to retrieve. Gets stopped in that near corner. Nice play by Bernier. Once again, St. Mike's having trouble getting it out of their zone right now. Karis Kale from the blue line sends it into the slot, and Curry's shot is saved by Lavender. Boy, a great A opportunity for Tristan Curry, and Annika Lavender said no. Once again, the Eagles trying to put the pressure on Anna Bernier. Back to Maddie Noonan. She tried a tough angled shot, and you could see Peyton Dully looking to dive for the deflection there, but never hit the net. St. Mike's having trouble clearing once again, but they do just get it out of the zone. Trying to stay with possession is Maddie Noonan, but she turns it over. Now going the other way is Weatherred, and now Devin Amundsen has to make a save. Noonan looking to settle it down. Almost lost possession of the puck again there for a quick second. Peterson with a long saucer pass, ill-advised there, turns it over. St. Mike's comes the other way now. Naomi Tink looking to drop pass it and ends up getting deflected and out of play with 12:32 left to go in this first period. Taking a look at the standings entering today, of course, St. A's leads the conference with 41 points. St. Mike's only 4 in conference points so far this season, and post a couple of spots ahead of them at 6 in the conference right now with 21 points. Pretty surprising. At 7th, it's Sacred Heart. They were in the conference championship last year, so somewhat of a surprising down season for the Pioneers. Meanwhile, the Eagles and the Purple Knights looking to grab a much-needed win tonight. In their own zone, Eagles looking to clear, can't do so. McGillis keeps it in. Emerson McGillis dancing around, gets the shot off, but an easy save that time for Amundsen having to gobble it up. 12:01 left to go in this first period. Of course, we've mentioned Hannah Saunders, 15 games in a row, her first day off in a while. That also means that Devin Amundsen's getting her first start in a while, and so far so good for the young sophomore. Cameron sends it around the boards of her own defensive end. Finds Georgia Stevens. Stevens enters the offensive zone but gets taken down. Victoria Fitzgibbon handles the loose puck. Georgia Stevens handled into the corner by a Purple Knight defenseman, and finally they do clear the zone. Racing after it to Lula Cameron for Post University. She puts on the brakes. Nice move to keep possession of the puck, but only temporarily. Isabel Gooley harassing her. Boychuk ends up getting the turnover for St. Mike's and able to keep it in as Shadle. She tries the shot. That one kick saved and gobbled up by Devin Amundsen once again. Some of the stat totals in this game so far. 6-4, the shot on goal total in favor of the visitors, and they lead the total shots 11-5. In the faceoff circle as well, St. Mike's winning it 4 of 6 faceoff attempts so far. So right now, St. Mike's applying the pressure to Post University. Looking for a bit of an upset here in Shelton. Game 1 of this 2-game weekend set. So we're expecting one of the biggest snowstorms of the decade this weekend, mostly coming on Sunday. The Eagles into their offensive zone. Jet Devlin couldn't quite get a handle on the puck. Nice play by McGillis to force the turnover, but only temporarily. McCavicus dancing around, couldn't find a lane. Now looking for a pass and ends up taking the tough angled shot, never reached the net. Lexi Soon sends it around the boards herself. Now St. Mike's looking to just reset things right now. McGillis back behind the net of Lavender. Goes up the ice now. Anna Gerolo finds Alicia McDonald, and Alicia McDonald with some space but couldn't get the backhanded try off. The hand is raised, and we'll have our first penalty of the game coming up against Post University, a hooking call, and we'll see who it gets called on. Looks like Jet Devlin is going to go to the box for the Eagles. First penalty of the game for either side. It's been a bit of an issue so far for Post University in the new year. Over this 3-game losing streak they've had, they've taken 16 penalties as a team. So definitely something you want to watch out for if you're Brandon Brown and crew. Devlin, it's a hooking penalty. Her 6th penalty of the year, and it comes at 9:30 in the first period. So defensive zone face-off win for the Eagles. Karis Kell takes the puck over, just shoots it off the glass and sends it all the way down the ice. Nice clearance there from Kell and takes some time off this first power play attempt for St. Michael's in this game. Give you their power play and penalty kill numbers in just a moment after the next whistle. They try to re-enter the offensive zone, but Kale gobbles up the puck once again, and once again just shoots it all the way down the ice for another clearance. So for St. Mike's on the season, they're 3.6% with the woman advantage. That's last in the conference. Meanwhile, on the penalty kill, the Eagles are 74% on the season, tied for 7th in the conference. About 40 seconds gone with the woman advantage so far for St. Michael's. They really haven't been able to set up anything in the offensive zone so far. We'll see if Julia Shadle and crew can turn that around. About halfway through the power play now. Instead, it's Peyton Tully with it on her stick, shorthanded in the offensive zone. Tully looking for Elaine to just waste some more time, maybe find an offensive opportunity. Finds Peterson, she takes a shot, and Lavender's forced to make the save. Boy, how about this penalty kill so far for the Eagles? About a minute gone on the power play, and Post out shooting St. Mike's 1-0 with the woman advantage. So it'll be an offensive zone face-off short-handed for Post University, and Anna Bernaire wins it. Back to Hain. Hain tries the shot, but that one misses wide right. Peyton Tully gets handled in the boards. Hain keeps it in. She dances around a couple of defenders. Lily Zoner looking to gobble up the loose puck. Back over to Peyton Tully in that far corner. And Tully just sends it back around the boards. The Eagles more than content with the puck being on this side of the ice, getting some time off on the power play. Now moving into their offensive zone. Kyler Weathered. Weathered back behind the net of Post University. Gives it off to Gerillo. Sends it back behind the net once again. Audrey Hetman in that far corner. With the woman advantage, back to Hetman. Still looking for Elaine up to the slot. Garrity, now a one-time attempt. And the shot on goal to save the loose puck out in the crease. They score! A power play goal! And it's 1-0 St. Mike's here in the first. Anna Gerillo gets the visitors on the board first. For Gerillo, her first goal this season, her 4th point overall. And how about this? Their first goal in the last 4 games for St. Michael's. And they get on the board and take a 1-0 lead on the power play. That adds a little bit of a boost to that 3.6 power play percentage as well for the Purple Knights. And if you're Brandon Brown, what felt like it was a really good penalty kill going for the Eagles really just went by the wayside there at the last minute. But the Eagles will get a chance for redemption as we have another penalty called on the Purple Knights. We'll have their first power play calling up after a commercial break. A 1-0 game in favor of the visitors here on Post University Women's Hockey. So the Eagles looking to come right back with the woman advantage as they get their first power play opportunity of this game. Offensive zone faceoff, and they win it. Noah Farberman takes the shot off the one-time attempt. That one hit a couple of bodies, never hit the net. The Eagles retain possession. Emma Hine up top, or Hain, I should say. Now across for Karis Kell. Look at the passing here for Post University. Ultimately couldn't get the shot on goal. The Eagles fans looking for a penalty there, but Emma Hain retains possession as no hand gets raised. St. Mike's able to just get it out of their defensive zone short-handed. So Karis Kale trying to send it back in, but the Purple Knights do a good job at neutral zone defense there. About 40 seconds gone on the woman advantage so far, and Emma Hain just elects to reset things back behind her own net. Even short-handed, you can see the forecheck from Isabel Gooley and the Purple Knights. Selena McCavicus takes it in herself, gets handled in the boards. trying to find a pass into the slot, just left it a little long for Devlin. She retains possession, and that pass well ill-advised as Devlin was down off her feet. Karis Kale takes it in her own zone. Eagles get a platoon swap in. Lily Zoner gets handled well. Nice play by Audrey Hetman. Getting shorthanded. They're being aggressive on the forecheck, and they force a turnover in the neutral zone here. The Eagles get the puck right back, however. Only 40 seconds left on the first power play attempt of the game. And a good clearance by St. Mike's once again. Devin Amundsen has to pick it up. And Lily Zoner resets things. Maybe one last push for the Eagles, one last possession with the woman advantage. Jody Rose through neutral ice, past the blue line, now settles it down. Looking for a lane to pass to, decides to give it off to Zoner. Zoner takes the shot, that one blocked. Good play by Audrey Hetman yet again. Back up to the blue line, Georgia Stevens. Now back into the slot here. Tristan Curry shot, and that one gets blocked. Battle for the loose puck in that near corner. Ends up going the Eagles' way as time expires on the penalty kill, on the power play. Ooh, a one-time attempt, and Tristan Curry just couldn't handle that one cleanly. Shot it just wide of the net. Eagles still have possession, back at even strength, 0 for 1 on the power play. Back around the boards it goes, up towards the blue line. Georgia Stevens sends it back around the other way now. Brianna Jarvis dancing around, trying to clear the puck, not able to do so. A nice keep-in from Jody Rose for Post University. Zoner unable to handle the puck in the slot. Coming the other way now is St. Mike's. Audrey Hetman, who made a couple of outstanding defensive plays on that penalty kill, just decides to shoot it in deep and get a line change in. There are a lot of tired skaters on the ice for the visitors. Something of note for St. Mike's. They're only skating 19 active skaters tonight. Not something I've ever really seen before at the D1 level. So you expect a lot of tired legs, so to speak, especially as this game progresses. And especially with the effort level that St. Mike's is putting in on the forecheck and such. Riley Patfield back into her offensive zone, dumps it for Peyton Tully, and she tries a shot. That one shoulder saved by Lavender. A great save and a great shot. The Eagles look to force the turnover yet again and end up getting possession at neutral ice. Riley Patfield. Looked like she just mishandled it that time. A good defensive play from Victoria Fitzgibbon. Now the loose puck, a couple of Eagles, a couple of Knights in there. And St. Mike's ends up with possession. Another hand gets raised, and another penalty coming up against the Eagles. The second power play opportunity coming up for St. Michael's. Alicia McDonald trying to retain possession in her offensive zone. The Eagles just able to touch up, and with a 1-0 lead, St. Mike's is going to yet again go on the power play. Looks like an interference penalty coming up. Looking to see the number in the box, having a hard time seeing it right now. Either way, so far on the day, 1 for 1 on the power play is St. Mike's. Anna Gerila with her first goal of the season. That made it a 1-0 game. Let's see if they can make it 2 for 2. For the Eagles, it looks like Peyton Tully is going to be the one going to the box this time. For Tully, it's a bit of a familiar story over the last couple of games. This is her 4th penalty in the last 5 games for the young freshman. Boy, good clearance that time from Post University after they win the defensive zone draw. So the Eagles now chasing it after, and again, they're also going heavy on the forecheck, even shorthanded. Moving right to left on your screen, the Purple Knights. Elizabeth Garraby just dumps it into the offensive zone. Good pinch play by the Eagles defensively right at the blue line, looking to clear. That was Callie Peterson, couldn't do so as Weatherred just cut it off. Weatherred sends it in deep. Gerilo, the goal scorer. Dancing around these boards, back up towards the blue line now, circling, trying to split the defenders, couldn't do so. McCavikis just couldn't turn the puck around. Otherwise, she would have had a wide open rink to skate towards the net. Audrey Hetman right near our camera well. Hetman dancing around, finds a lane yet again. Boy, she has impressed so far in this first period here in Shelton. Almost forces the turnover yet again. Instead, a great clearance from McCavikis as we're about halfway through the second power play attempt of the game so far for St. Mike's. Weatherred with the head of steam, dancing past the red line, past the blue line. Now looking for a lane, decides to slow it down, tries to get it back up towards the blue line, but a nice play that time defensively from Emma Hain, forcing the turnover and the clearance. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this first period. The Eagles trail 1-0 and are shorthanded right now. Back behind the net, a Devin Amundsen it goes. Jody Rose looking to clear the blue line. She does so, but only temporarily. Brianna Jarvis right there for St. Mike's. She sends it back in. Emma Hain cuts it off. And the Eagles do send it back down the ice, but we'd have another whistle coming up. A high stick is going to be called. We'll have another neutralized face-off, it looks like. Actually, looks like we're going to have a penalty here. It's going to be a high-sticking penalty on Tim Marie McGrom. I thought that they were just saying that she played the puck with a high stick. Instead, they're saying that she hit somebody with a high stick. So it's going to be a 5-on-3 opportunity for St. Mike's for 12 seconds here. And then their third power play of the game, and they'll have about 1 minute and 48 seconds to go with yet another woman advantage. Already the third penalty of this first period for the Eagles. It's Tim Marie Grom going to the box this time around. A key defensive win for Karis Kell. She actually does the smart thing and just tries to pin it back deep. The Eagles are able to clear it down the ice. That's going to erase the 5-on-3 threat. So we're back to a 5-on-4 here. Peyton Tully comes out of the box, immediately gets a change in. The Eagles do have all 4 of their skaters out. Nice job not letting St. Mike's into the offensive zone, but Karis Kell couldn't clear it herself. Riley Patfield trying to do the same, gets cut off by Fitzgibbon instead. Now entering the offensive zone, this is Jarvis looking to work around Karis Kell. Kell gets the better of her, but for how long is the question? And the Eagles finally do clear it down. Kai Hyatt with 1 minute 20 left to go on this power play. Line change for St. Mike's. Looks like the same 4 out there for the Eagles, and another push into the offensive zone for the visitors. That one quickly cut off. Nice play by Tallulah Cameron, but once again couldn't get it all the way down the ice. Halfway gone on the third power play attempt of the day for St. Mike's. Hetman gets around Marley Webster, finds possession of the puck back behind the net. Into that far corner, now back up to the blue line, back into the far corner, and some good passing here from St. Mike's. One-time attempt from the blue line, saved by Devin Amundsen. She doesn't know where the loose puck is. A bunch of skaters fighting for it, and finally the whistle gets blown with 1 minute 43 left to go in this first period. And 40 seconds left to go on the power play. I believe it was Elizabeth Garibay who got the one-time attempt off after some really great tic-tac-toe type movement from St. Michael's. Face-off coming to the left of Devin Amundsen. Jet Devlin loses it that time. Good play by Anna Gerillo to win on the power play. Long shot from the blue line. That one not nearly as tough of a save. Easily gobbled up by Amundsen. 32 seconds left on the power play. Boy, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but can't be overstated how big of an issue it is right now for the Eagles with how many penalties they're taking over the course of the last 3 games and now 1 period. Just putting your netminders in a tough spot, putting your defenders in a tough spot, giving a team like St. Michael's an opportunity to really snatch momentum going into the break. See if they can take advantage here. Back up to the blue line with a lot of space. Whether it takes the shot, that one deflected just wide. Gerillo got her stick on it. 1:17 left to go in the period. 10 seconds left on the power play. Garibay back into the far corner. McDonald back to Garibay. That pass just a little too hard. Garibay couldn't handle it cleanly. The Eagles able to clear it out, and that ends a flurry of power plays for St. Michael's. And see if the Eagles can just stay at even strength for the remaining minute left in this period. Boy, sloppy pass there and a good turnover for the Eagles. Emma Hain couldn't handle it into the offensive zone. Georgia Stevens tried the shot, but that one missed just wide. Rose with it now. Her shot attempt gets blocked, trickles into this near corner. Zoner tried to send it into the slot, but that one got blocked. Nice play defensively by Lily Hartnell. Into the far corner it goes. Eagles with possession. Grom with the shot in the slot. Rebound chance, and a couple of great saves from Lavender. 30 seconds left to go in this period. Boy, good play that time defensively from Jody Rose. Looked like she thought she was going to get called for a penalty there, maybe a slash, but didn't end up getting called, and she maybe caught a break there. Boy, a tie-up right in front of the Eagles bench. 10 seconds left in this first period of play. One last opportunity for St. Mike's here. Puck trickles into that far corner. Jody Rose just going to hold on to it, take it back behind her own net, and that'll do it here in this first period of play in Shelton. Boy, how about this for a first period? St. Mike's goes into the intermission up by a 1-0 score. Of course, the goal, her first of the season, scored by Anna Gerolo on the first of the 3 power play attempts that they had in that period. Meanwhile, for the Eagles, just looking to get some more offense on the board. Taking a look at the first period stats, they're getting outshot in terms of shots on goal, 12-9, and outshot total 19-16. Of course, they've given up 3 power play opportunities in this game. But they are winning the faceoff battle 10-5, however, and they are blocking a lot of shots 4-2 in that first period. So don't go anywhere as we have a quick intermission, and then our middle period of play is coming up next as you've been watching Post University Women's Hockey. Welcome back into the Sports Center of Connecticut here in Shelton as we're just about ready for our second period of play between the St. Mike's Purple Knights and York Post University Eagles. Good evening, I should say. Friday night under the lights hockey here in Division I New England Women's Hockey Alliance. And St. Mike's with a 1-0 lead despite only scoring one goal in their last 12 games, while they have their second in their last 13. And that's as of the first period. Anna Gerolo getting her first of the season on the power play. Boy, for the Eagles, what an issue it is right now with how many penalties they're committing. They committed 3 in that first period. And heading into this game today, as I pull up my numbers, well, Post University, they've committed 16 as a team during their 3-game losing streak, including today, make it 19. So they'll certainly look to change that around as the game goes along. We're at even strength to start this second period of play. Gerolo in the circle for St. Mike's. Jody Rose in the circle for the Eagles. And we're underway. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. St. Mike's wins that neutral zone faceoff immediately, looking to get back into their offensive zone. But the Eagles defensively cut it off. And Shadle just sends it right back in, back behind the net of Amundsen, who was tested a pretty good amount in that first period, maybe surprisingly so. Again, the Eagles look to help her out a little bit defensively in this middle period of play. We'll see if that remains the case. I'm also interested to see how the energy levels of St. Mike's keeps up as they force a turnover there, and Weathered gets the shot off, but Amundsen makes the save. Boy, 1-on-none there for St. Mike's Alicia McDonald and crew. And Evan Amundsen gets her first real test of this period. As we mentioned earlier, I'm interested to see what happens with St. Mike's as this game goes along. Having only 19 skaters on your active roster, I expect some tired legs to really get into the second half of this period and beyond. They win that offensive zone faceoff up at the top of their zone. Hard to see the number, but it looked like it was Caitlin Alliong trying the shot. Got blocked by an Eagle defender, and now Post looks to take over. Having trouble clearing their defensive zone. Millie Zoner just sends it back behind the net. Emma Hain trying to settle it down. Zoner has it once again. Finally, the Eagles do get it past the blue line and just try to shoot it back in. Nice play by Alliong to cut it off once again for St. Mike's. Now Maddie Noonan trying to force the turnover on the forecheck, unable to do so, and St. Mike's moves left to right now in this middle period. Weathered couldn't handle it down cleanly. Back into the offensive zone goes Emma Hain. Hain driving towards the center, looking for her shot. That one got blocked. Did hit the net of Annika Lavender, but fairly easy save for her there to start off her period. Eagles trying to use some puck movement here. Marley Webster's shot gets blocked. Nice block by Kyler Weathered yet again, and St. Mike's takes over. Alliong out of her defensive zone. Pass intended for Weathered that time, but she couldn't handle it down. Now back into the offensive zone for Post. Kai Hyatt with a trailer there. Couldn't find Tristan Curry and gets pinned down back behind the St. Mike's net. Just about 2 minutes gone here in this first period of play. Still 1-0. Purple Knights over the Eagles. Hyatt ends up with possession for Post. Back towards the blue line. Marley Webster tries to send it in deep, but the pass gets cut off. That was Elizabeth Garraby forcing the turnover. Tries to get it into the offensive zone. Couldn't do so as Ruby Mitchell takes over instead. Mitchell getting harassed in that far corner. Tristan Curry now sends it across the ice for Riley Patfield. Patfield enters the offensive zone, but going one against the world, literally 1 against 5 there. Eagles versus St. Mike's as the rest of her team was getting a change off behind her. Boy, misplay that time from Karis Kell. An opportunity here. Callie Boychuk was racing after it, but a nice play by Devin Amundsen coming out of her crease to get that puck out of danger. Still in the offensive zone of the Purple Knights. Hetman in that far corner, working against Ruby Mitchell. Mitchell forces the turnover. Now Karis Kell has it. Couldn't clear the defensive zone as of yet, and a nice keeping by St. Mike's. However, the Eagles do have possession. Looking to reset and get it out of there. Noah Farraman, the nice dangle to get around a defender. Finds her teammate Peyton Tully, and Tully gets squeezed right along the blue line. Peterson now for Post. Not a lot of action in the early parts of the second period. Once again, seemed to be a feeling out process between these two teams. Stripes got in the way of that one, deflected off his skate. No harm, no foul for either side. Once again, Hits off the referee, and the puck actually stays in the offensive zone of post, and they look to take advantage. Peyton Tully sends one to the slot. Timmery Grom just couldn't settle that one down. Nice keeping for the Eagles, and a long slap shot from Peterson. That one's saved by Lavender, and St. Mike's comes away with the rebound. Anna Gerolo. That one for Fitzgibbon, and now Lexi Soon trying to enter the offensive zone. Soon gets harassed and eventually gets it turned over. Grom once again with a head of steam. Past the red line, past the blue line with some help. Finds Jody Rose, and she takes the shot, but that one just misses up and above the netting. St. Mike's comes down with the rebound in the near corner, but Post looking to go heavy on the forecheck, trying to force the turnover. A nice play by Tessa Moore just to settle it down. Bank pass up and out of the defensive zone for the Purple Knights. Boy, a head of steam that time for St. Mike's, looking for a number. Looked like it was Lexi Soon there using her speed. Actually, I should correct myself. Brianna Jarvis was the one who found possession in the offensive zone. Now Tessa Moore sends it in deep, back behind the net of Devin Amundsen. Tallulah Cameron couldn't handle that puck cleanly, and boy, a couple of defenders couldn't handle that puck. It ends up staying with the Purple Knights, and now they turn it over on a sloppy play and a possible 2-on-1 going for the Eagles. Timmery Grom, she takes the shot. Lavender makes the save, cleared out of danger for now. Jet Devlin driving towards the net into the slot, and nobody was home to receive the pass. Back up the other way now. Callie Boychuk racing after it, but how about the speed of the defender for the Eagles? Emma Hain winning that race. Cameron tried to get it past the red line, couldn't do so. Hetman goes the other way with it. Hetman finds her teammate Boychuk, and Boychuk has it turned over. Once again, Emma Hain with a great play defensively. It's back on her stick now, looking to clear the defensive zone. Couldn't do so. Boy, good play. Isabel Gooley forcing the turnover. Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of offense. It's been an opportunity to highlight the defense in this game, and there's a beautiful offensive play. Alicia McDonald finding some space at center ice, and Devin Amundsen gobbling it up with her glove. Just under 6 minutes gone here in this middle period. Taking a look at some of the stats of the second period of play. Shots on goal total 3-1 in favor of the Eagles and 6-2 total in favor of Post University, but it looks like we'll have actually our first penalty called of the period, and I didn't even realize it until Amundsen gobbled it up. And yet again, the Eagles committing their fourth penalty of the game, this one belonging to Selena Makavikis. So far, 1 for 3 as St. Mike's on the power play. Kyler Weatherred takes the shot. Amundsen makes the save. Loose puck, and it stays with the Purple Knights in their offensive zone. Fourth time today, they've had the woman advantage. Gareby tries it, and that one misses just wide. Going for the rebound is Kai Hyde, and the Eagles are able to get it out of there. 1:40 left to go on the advantage. The Eagles able to just get a gift of a turnover there right at middle ice. Looked like Annika Lavender was calling for the ice in there despite her being on the woman advantage. Now moving left to right, go St. Michael's. McDonald has it on her stick. Finds Elizabeth Gareby. Gareby gets around a defender and enters the zone. Now across the ice, just looking for any type of help, but couldn't get any. The Eagles send it down the other way. 50 seconds gone on the power play. Only goal of the game for St. Mike's came on the advantage. Anna Gerolo, her first of the season, but coming into this game, only a 3.8 power play percentage on the year, the worst in the conference. Well, they're going to turn that up if you keep giving them opportunities, and that was a great chance there. Victoria Fitzgibbon with a grade A opportunity and a beautiful kick save from Amundsen. Still with possession is St. Mike's. Gareby, actually Jarvis, finds Fitzgibbon. Now Jarvis once again. Back up to the blue line. Fitzgibbon tries the shot. Beautiful block that time from Timmery Grom. But Fitzgibbon still has it on her stick. 30 seconds left to go on the power play. Julia Shadle now right at that blue line. Driving towards the net, trying a shot. Timmery Grom gets in front of it once again. Jody Rose just trying to send it around the boards and out, but it's kept in by St. Mike's. Shadle. Now she tries to send one into the slot. It deflects a few times and ultimately out of danger. 10 seconds left to go on the power play, and the Eagles are able to clear it out of their zone. So barring anything uber dramatic here, St. Mike's, they move to 1 for 4 on the power play as we're officially back at even strength. No harm, no foul that time for Selena Makavikis and crew, but Eagles, feels like you really want to stop committing penalties if you're Brandon Brown. Karis Kale, past the blue line she goes, whiffs on the shot, ultimately turns it over, but a good opportunity there for the Eagles goes by the wayside. Maddie Noonan, captain of these Eagles, finds it up at the blue line. Emma Hine tries a long wrist shot. That one misses up and above the net. Zoner comes down with it. Zoner was trying to find that pass for Jet Devlin. Once again, it looked like the ref might have gotten in the way there. Eagles retain possession. McKavikis sends it in deep. Boy, a couple of tie-ups there in that near corner. No penalty call, but Jet Devlin and Emerson McGillis were going at it hard with one another. Boy, backhanded attempt for Selena McKavikis that time, and an easy save for Annika Lavender. Another stoppage here with 11:35 left to go in this second period. We've definitely seen an uptick in the offense in the middle period, but no goals to speak of as of yet. The Eagles looking to break through against Annika Lavender. This is the third game of the season series between these two squads. The first two at St. Mike's. I almost said St. Anselm. And St. Mike's was the Eagles taking both of them. First one by a 5-0 score. The second one by a 3-2 score. That was a pretty athletic save from Lavender off the one-timer from Hain to flex out of play, and we'll redo the face-off to the left of the St. Mike's netminder. It's the Eagles with 8 goals so far this season against St. Mike's, but not able to get one across in the first period and a half, roughly speaking, today. Neutral zone battle for it. Ends up going all the way back on net, almost on net, I should say, of Devin Amundsen. Hain just took it right out of that crease, and now the Eagles move right to left, trying to get some offense going. Into the offensive zone they go. Boy, a good takedown that time from Victoria Fitzgibbon, trying to force the turnover, and she does. St. Michael's comes away with possession. Lexi Soon tries to hand it off. Millie Hartnell couldn't handle it, ends up turning it over. Now for the Eagles, it's Noah Farberman. Just sends it into that far corner as they're going to get a fresh 5 skaters out there as Brandon Brown and crew. 10:45 left to go in this middle period. Gooley just dumps it into her offensive zone. Ruby Mitchell trying to collect for the Eagles. Post is able to get it out of there. Once again, this is Ruby Mitchell with it on her stick. She sends it across the slot. Nobody home to receive the pass. Tallulah Cameron, she tries that one, and it misses wide of the net. Loose puck along the far boards. Jody Rose racing after it. Goes back up towards the blue line. Mitchell once again, her wrist shot gets blocked by her own teammate incidentally. Ends up going the other way, left to right. Audrey Hedman and St. Michael's. She was looking for a pass. Kai Hyatt got her body in the way of that one. Kai Hyatt still there defensively, forcing another turnover, and Tristan Curry has it now. Curry for Hyatt once again. Now a 2-on-2 here. Riley Patfield, she takes the shot, and that one blockered away and out of danger by Annika Lavender. Great save from her. Past the halfway point, as there's another attempt for Karis Kale, and she just misses the net wide. Boy, best scoring chance of the day for Post University, but they couldn't hit the net, could Karis Kale. Cameron's shot deflected a few times. Kai Hyatt tries another one. Loose puck out in front. Whistle gets blown. And no goal. Boy, Annika Lavender with a couple of beauties of saves here as we've reached under the 10-minute mark of the second period. Looked like the puck might have still been loose, but St. Mike's catching a break. And either way, they take a 1-0 lead into the media timeout as you're watching Post University women's hockey. .35 left to go in the second period. St. Michael's looking to hang on to their 1-0 lead. So it looks like the Eagles have grabbed some momentum in the last couple of minutes or so and now looking to take advantage of it as they win that offensive zone draw. Peterson with the shot off the draw and a nice save from Lavender. Loose puck right in the slot. Georgia Stevens fighting for it for the Eagles. McGillis hammers her into the boards. Nothing called and will play on. The Eagles retain possession. Jody Rose in the far corner working against Emerson McGillis. Timmery Grom now getting tied up. Couple of Eagles, a couple of Knights there. Rose comes away with it. Rose has had a great season specifically against these Purple Knights. Looking to continue that today and maybe can gift the Eagles some more momentum. 9 minutes left to go. Eagles come away with possession after the tie-up. No one's really able to gather it and settle it down. Karis Kale now tries the shot. Looked like Gerolo got her body in the way of that one. Caitlin Alliong with a hard body into the boards. The hand gets raised, and we have the second power play attempt coming up for Post University. Just after the media timeout, it looks like Caitlin Alliong is going to get called. It's either going to be an interference or a high sticking. And maybe the Eagles with the exact opportunity they needed in order to finally get on the board and try to tie this game. Second power play of the day, 0 for 1 so far, and coming into this game today, Post University with an 8.9% power play percentage, and for St. Mike's, 76.8% on the penalty kill. That's 6th in the conference. Emma Hain towards the net, fires a shot and just misses above the netting. Boy, that was a rocket of a wrister. Barely able to see it until it hit off the glass. Back up to the far side. Hain finds Kale. Kale takes it, and that one blockered into safety by Lavender. Still in the offensive zone for the Eagles. Maddie Newton trying to gather possession with McCavicus. Back up to the blue line here for Kale. Kale swaps positions with Hain. Now Hain has it on her stick. Towards the net, into the slot, takes the shot, blockered into safety yet again by Annika Lavender. Boy, Lavender has stood on her head today. Another shot off the post for Karis Kale. Hain gobbles up the rebound now, still with possession. Selena McCavicus tries a slap shot. That one deflects, they score! Felt like it was only a matter of time for the Eagles, and they tie the game up at 1 apiece on the power play. Selena McCavicus gets on the board, and it's now 1-1. For Selena McCavicus, her third goal of this season, her 6th point of the year, and it looks like the referees are gathering and talking about it over at the far end. St. Mike's hasn't put a 5 on the squad yet, but seems like everything's going to count for the Eagles. And for Post University, it felt like they were on fire over the last 5-minute stretch, and they're really looking to take advantage on the power play. Finally, they do. And Selena McCavicus gets on the board for the first time in a while. See if the Eagles can continue their momentum now, even strength in a brand new game here, a little over halfway through it. Into that far corner, St. Mike's and Post University, a couple of each tied up, and the Eagles come away with it. Tristan Curry looking to settle things down. Audrey Hetman harassing her. She sends it back around behind her own net. And a nice job forcing the offensive zone turnover for St. Michael's. Although they aren't able to retain possession. Actually, I spoke too soon. Now they are. Audrey Hetman stops on a dime, circling around, looking to find a lane, and just sends it back into that corner. Beautiful pass into the slot, and Caitlin Alliong couldn't take advantage. Size just ascended in deep. Eagles going to swing it around the board, and it's kept in by St. Mike's yet again. Lexi Soon tries to just keep the puck on that side of the ice. So much of the New England Women's Hockey Alliance is about possession play. It seems like just wherever the puck is on the ice, well, that team's going to have a major advantage for multiple minutes, it feels like at times. See if the Eagles can try to keep that pattern going here. Under 7 minutes left in the second period. Puck up in the air and handled down. Noah Farberman circling around. She takes a wrist shot. Rebound chance for Emma Hain, but poked into safety. Nice play by Lexi Soon defensively. Otherwise, Emma Hain would have had just a grade A scoring chance. The Eagles trying to move right to left and tried for a quick counterattack pass intended for Anna Bernaire, but that one's going to go down as an icing. 6 minutes, 14 seconds left to go in this middle period of play. Taking a look at some of the second period stats here. Boy, what a turnaround for Post University. in this second period, outshooting St. Mike's 16-5. In terms of the face-off battle, it's actually 4-4 even between these two squads, and both these squads have 2 blocks in the period as well, so a fairly even-played game all throughout. But the Eagles really snatching momentum here, especially in the latter half of this second period. Moving right to left, Anna Bernaire decides just to dump it in deep and get a line change in as a couple new Eagles come on. Lily Zoner does a nice job keeping it in for post. Puck chipped high up into the air, comes down into that near corner. Peyton Tully tries to send it into the slot, nobody home. Stays in the offensive zone, and a nice keeping by Karis Kale. Now she's trying to use her momentum and get into that near corner. Alicia McDonald cuts it off defensively. Tie up here between a couple of Eagles and Knights. Ends up going the visitors' way. Naomi Tink able to just poke it out of there. Eagles have to reset back in their own defensive zone. Under 5:30 left to go. Karis Kale with the head of steam. She tries the shot, and I believe Lavender got a piece of that one. Grom tries to cut off the pass and keep it in. Unable to do so. Shadle takes it out of there. Julia Shadle with a bank pass to herself. Left just a little bit long. Callie Peterson able to cut it off defensively, and Peterson hammers Shadle into the boards. Post going the other way now. Grom, 2-on-3 forming, tries the shot, kick save from Annika Lavender. The loose puck gathered by a Purple Knight defensively. Once again, Naomi Tink there. She's in the right place in the right time to avoid danger. Tallulah Cameron finds Maddie Noonan, re-enters the zone. Noonan works around Shadle, now going around the net. Working up against Tessa Moore, looking for a lane back towards the blue line, and Marley Webster just couldn't handle it cleanly. Cameron once again resetting for the Eagles. Puck gets shot back in deep. Cutting it off was Shadle. Cameron keeps it in. Cameron with a long wrister looking for a deflection. I don't think Noonan got a piece of it. Lavender certainly did. Cameron unable to keep it in the zone that time for post, and once again a reset. But boy, how about this long shift offensively for the Eagles here? Shadle unable yet again to get past that forecheck of Post University. Cameron with a beautiful keep in. Hand gets raised right now. A whistle gets blown, and we'll have Post going on yet another penalty, or another power play, I should say, just under the 4-minute mark. Going to be a cross-checking call, and it's Julia Shadle who had a long shift on the ice. It's the primary right defender on this St. Mike's team, and there's only 5 active defenders on this team, so the long shifts are expected, but boy, that one probably a little too long defensively. Ends up with a cross-checking penalty. And we'll see how this one goes for the Eagles. 1 for 2 on the day on the power play. And the game-tying goal for Selena Mikavicus last time, her 3rd of the season. Quick shot off the draw. That one deflects just wide off the stick of Timmerie Grom. Jody Rose has the rebound, sends it across the ice. Shot attempt there for the Eagles, and that one was Georgia Stevens. Rebound attempt goes wide of the net. Rose once again back at the near boards. Hands it off at the blue line for Zoner. Bank pass back to Rose. Rose towards the net, in the slot, takes the shot, and that one left up and left. 3:30 left in the period. We got a penalty, it looks like, coming up, or a hand is raised at the very least. And everyone on the ice looks confused. Oh, well, that's because the post came loose on the net behind Annika Lavender. Didn't really look that loose from my perspective, but referees deemed it enough. And they, of course, have a much better view than I do. Under 1:30 left to go on the power play. Nice keeping from Lily Zoner yet again. She's dancing around, tried to send it across the blue line. Nice interception almost by Alicia McDonald. Eagles end up with possession. Stevens back into the offensive zone off her feet, but finds a way to give it off to Timmerie Grom. Grom, a little bank pass for Jody Rose as the Eagles got a couple of new skaters on the ice. Hain into this near corner. Skates around, able to find a lane to Tristan Curry. Back up top for Rose. Rose into the slot for Kale. One-time attempt. That one just left behind Curry. Just about a minute left to go. Actually, 50 seconds left to go on the power play. Curry, her shot attempt gets blocked. Kyler Weatherhead now trying to counterattack here with a head of steam, but couldn't get around the back check of Karis Kale. What a play from her. Tristan Curry now hands it off, and the Eagles trying to reset. 35 seconds left to go with the woman advantage, and only about 2.5 left in the period. Alicia McDonald forces the turnover. Boy, she's been outstanding on this penalty kill. Said her name defensively 3 or 4 times. A couple of great plays, and we're down to 20 seconds left. Action in this middle period has been fun. Eagles looking to continue it. There's a shot attempt, easily gloved down by Lavender. Couldn't handle the rebound. 10 seconds left to go on the power play. Good clearance from St. Mike's. And with 5 seconds left, that's likely going to do it as we go back to even strength between these two squads. 1 for 3 on the power play is post. Makavakis tries the shot. That one gobbled up by Lavender right into her chest. 1:54 left to go on in this period. Boy, both the first and the second period have had a feeling out process, so to speak, in the first 5 minutes or so, but the action has really picked up in the last 10, and a lot of that is because, well, Post University has picked up the action, just dominating this middle period of play, outshooting St. Mike's 21-5 on goal in the second period alone. Defensive zone win for the Purple Knights. Victoria Fitzgibbon back in that far corner. Gets cut off. Anna Bernaire there defensively on the forecheck. Ends up going to Brianna Jarvis. Jarvis past the blue line, working against Ruby Mitchell. Couldn't get it off to Lexi Soon. Once again, Anna Bernaire forcing the turnover. Now loose puck right in the slot of St. Mike's as they have possession in the offensive zone. Back to the blue line, long shot on goal. Amundsen was forced to make the save, believe, off a deflection there. Circling around, that was Gerolo as another tough angled shot. Easily gobbled yet again. Amundsen having to work through a couple of screens. And now we have some extracurriculars in front of the net here. 1:16 left to go in the period. Getting chippy between these in-conference rivals. Looked like Peyton Tully was involved for Post University. Ruby Mitchell in there. Couldn't quite see the numbers for St. Mike's from our angle. But either way, nothing called, and all just good competition. Defensive zone, offensive zone win for St. Mike's, I should say. Looked like it was going to go the Eagles' way, but they couldn't take advantage. Riley Patfield with a head of steam. Past the blue line she goes. Tries to send it into the slot. Smart play by the netminder Lavender just to poke check it into safety. Past or under a minute left to go in the period. Tie up, and it gets back behind the net of Lavender. St. Mike's with possession. Send it up the boards. Karis Kale keeps it in. Boy, what a block that time from Audrey Hetman. Believe she used her noggin. She looks shaken up on the ice right now, trying to stay in the play rather than get back to the bench. And finally, she does go back to the bench. Hopefully, Audrey Hetman is okay. Boy, she looked pretty shaken up going back to the bench. 30 seconds left to go in this middle period. Long up ice pass for St. Mike's intended for Boychuk, but left just a little too long for her. And the Eagles now have possession. Maybe time for one last push for Post University. Hyatt working against Gerolo, and Hyatt ends up with possession, takes the shot, and that one just got a piece of the blocker of Lavender. Less than 10 seconds left to go. Into the slot, loose puck, and it hit a defender, never hit the net. Last opportunity, Hain tries to send it into the crease. And that one gets deflected wide by Julia Shadle, and that will do it for the second period of play. What a period it was for the Eagles, and maybe a bit more of what you were expecting for Brandon Brown and crew as they outshoot the opposition at 22-7, and Selena Makavakis gets her third of the season to tie the game up at 1 apiece. So don't go anywhere, as we'll have our third and presumably final period of play coming up in just about 15 minutes. But enjoy our second intermission as you've been watching Post University Women's Hockey. Welcome back to the Sports Center of Connecticut as we're just about 30 seconds away from our third and possibly final period of play between the visiting St. Michael's Purple Knights and your Post University Eagles. Boy, a 1-1 game as we enter this third period. All started back in the first. Anna Gerolo getting her first of the season on a power play for St. Mike's, made it 1-0, but the Eagles really grabbed some momentum, especially in the latter half of that second period, and made it 1-1 thanks to Selena Mikavakis on the power play as well. So we'll see who can end up grabbing an edge in this game and improving in the standings as the third period is underway here at the Sports Center of Connecticut. Thanks so much for joining us. Immediately the Eagles win the neutralized faceoff back in their defensive zone, and Timmery Grom now with a possible 2-on-1 forming for the Eagles. She takes the shot, tries to go short side, but just misses up and above the net. Rebound controlled temporarily, at least, by the Eagles. Callie Peterson back into the offensive zone she goes. Now Grom tries to bank pass it back to Peterson. That pass gets intercepted by Fitzgibbon, and now the Purple Knights go the other way with it. Along the far boards, it's Emerson McGillis trying to shake off a couple of Eagle defenders there, but the puck gets tied up right in front of the Purple Knights bench. Just about a minute gone here in this third period. Boy, puck still tied up. 3 Eagles and looks like 3 Purple Knights are in there as well, and St. Michael's does come away with it. Emma Hain takes it right back for Post University, and Jet Devlin decides just to shoot it in deep for the Eagles. Tessa Moore gathers the rebound, sends it back around the boards. Weathered unable to clear the zone. Eagles keep it in, but again, only temporarily, as Zoner's going to have to touch up and reset for Post. Maddie Noonan back towards the slot. Drop pass from Mikavakis as her slap shot goes right into the chest of Annika Lavender, and she makes her first save of this third period. Taking a look at the stats total in this game, Post now out shooting St. Mike's 32-19 on goal and 55-30 total in this game. Face-off battle, 17-12 in favor of the Eagles, but of course, Post, they've committed one more penalty, 4-3 in favor of St. Mike's. Visiting team trying to clear the zone, unable to do so, thanks to the handy stick, it looks like, of Selena Mikavakis as she tries to get her second of the game, but ends up shooting it right into the chest of Lavender again. And we'll have another stoppage here. Looks like Brandon Brown choosing to get a fresh 5 out on the ice for the Eagles. Going to be that third line offensive group, Curry Hyatt and Riley Patfield. Curry off the tie-up actually loses that face-off. Now going the other way, St. Mike's just trying to get it out of the defensive zone, and yet again it gets sent right back into the bench of the Purple Knights, and we'll have yet another offensive zone face-off coming up here early in this third period. Boy, 4th or 5th face-off already. A little under 2 minutes gone. The Eagles win it this time. Ruby Mitchell tries the wrist shot off the draw. Got blocked. Nice play by Callie Boychuk for St. Mike's. Back around the boards it goes. Kai Hyatt looking for a pass into the slot. One-timer from Webster. That one got saved by Lavender. And the rebound chance hit a couple of bodies but never hit the net. And yet again it goes out of play. Another face-off coming up for the Eagles. And hey, if anything, the drawn-up plays off the face-off have been working out well for Post University here in the third period. See if it continues. Fresh group out there for St. Mike's, and so Brandon Brown answers, sends out a new line. Second grouping for Post, Timmery Grom, Jody Rose and company. Rose gathers the loose puck, tries to send it into the slot. Once again, nobody there to gather the pass. Boy, puck actually ends up on net, it looked like, after deflecting a couple of times. Looked like it was an intended pass, and now it ends up in front of the crease, but a good heads-up stick by a St. Mike's defender to get it out of the way. Boy, Eagles on fire right now. Jody Rose tries to send it back in front of the crease, nobody there to collect, and finally, St. Michael's able to just get it out of the defensive zone after what felt like a minute and a half and change. And we have another penalty coming up here. An interference is called. Just under 3 minutes gone. Trying to see who it's going to go up against. It's going against Post University, and it's Ruby Mitchell going back to the box, or for the first time today, Mitchell goes into the box. Boy, the 8th combined penalty between these two teams, the 5th assessed to Post University today, this time an interference for Ruby Mitchell at just under 3 minutes here in the third period. So an opportunity for St. Mike's, who have not had momentum in quite a while in this game, to try to get it right back, but Anna Bernaire able to clear it all the way down the ice right off the draw. 1 for 4 so far today on the power play is St. Mike's. Came into this game with a 3.8 power play percentage, worst in the conference. Trying to reset, already 20-plus seconds gone on the woman advantage. Along these near boards, Brianna Jarvis sends it across the ice, intended for Lexi Soon, and Soon gets cut off trying to pass the blue line. And St. Mike's will have to touch up. Jarvis once again with it on her stick. Past the blue line she goes. Now with a head of steam, tries to pass into the slot. Good play by Tallulah Cameron defensively, forcing the loose puck. Peyton Tully racing after it, and she ends up winning the race for the Eagles shorthanded. Looked like she might have gotten tripped up there. No hand raised by any of the referees. And we go back the other way. Once again on the power play, halfway gone for St. Mike's. Julia Shadle almost turned it over, ends up getting picked up by Gerolo. Back to Shadle. Gerolo, the lone goal scorer for St. Mike's today, sends it back around the boards. Audrey Hetman getting harassed by Tully. Hetman dancing around, gets past Kai Hyatt, unable to get the shot off as Peyton Tully lays a big hit on her. The Eagles able to clear it all the way down the ice as there's 35 seconds left to go on the 5th power play of the game for St. Mike's. Through neutral ice, it's Alicia McDonald. Just sends it in deep, trying to win the race, but Lily Zoner gets there first. Eagles looking to send it around the board to the clear. Nice keep in by Weatherford. Kyler Weathered able to just handle that one back down. 10 seconds left to go on the woman advantage. Weathered circling around, looking for somebody to pass to. Pass intended for Hetman. That one left just a little bit long. 1 second left to go, and we're back at even strength. Makes St. Mike's 1 for 5 today on the power play chance. Puck down the ice came just as the penalty was expiring, so it does go as an icing against the Eagles with 15-14 left to go in this third period. Boy, for Post, they committed 3 penalties in the first, 1 in the second. One in the second. And they came into this game having committed 16 penalties over the last 3 games. We're able to settle it down somewhat in the second period, but you don't want that trend to reignite itself here in the third. Eagles unable to clear the zone, trying to reset things as Emma Hain. Patfield across the ice. Good touch pass from Maddie Noonan. Back to Hain. Hain looking to split the defenders, and a beautiful hit that time from Caitlin Alliong, knocking Hain to the ice. No hand gets raised. Will continue to play. Long slap shot from the corner. Nice concentration from Lavender to make the save. And with 14:47 to go, we have another stoppage here. Boy, what a hit that time. Caitlin Alliong and Emma Hain. Emma Hain with the size advantage there going up against Alliong. One of the more offensive-minded defensemen we've seen in the Nuha this year. Caitlin Alliong able to stand her ground there. St. Mike's wins the defensive zone faceoff, but ends up turning it over. Jet Devlin right in front of the net, and that shot gets deflected wide. Don't know if it was Lavender or defender who got a piece of it, but either way, Eagles look to retain possession. Peterson with it along the near boards, looking for a man in the slot. Nobody there. Smart play by Webster just to tip it back behind the net of Lavender. Looking to break out of their own defensive zone are the Purple Knights. Pass across the ice. Maybe ill-advised. Peterson picks it up for the Eagles. Back into the offensive zone it goes. Chasing after it. It's Jet Devlin. Now Selena McKavikis looking to clean it up for Post. So is Alicia McDonald for St. Mike's. Puck goes all the way around the boards. Webster once again swings it back around. Jet Devlin behind the net. Unable to handle it cleanly. Puck goes high up in the air, deflects out of play. 13:47 left in this third period of play. Still tied up at 1 apiece, but taking a look at the third period stats, it has been all Eagles so far in the third, outshooting St. Mike's 9-0 on goal, 13-2 total here in the third. Karis Kale, her shot looked like she just whiffed on the shot for a second. Tried an aggressive play to keep it in the zone, but an even better play from Alicia McDonald to tip it out of there. Now the tie-up ends up going all the way back in the defensive end of Post. Tallulah Cameron to collect. We'll see if they can draw up a breakout play here. Cameron tries to settle it down, but heavy on the forecheck goes St. Mike's. Anna Gerolo right there trying to intercept it. Instead, Georgia Stevens goes up the ice. Stevens circling, tries the circus shot, so to speak, and it ended up on net. Beautiful save that time from Lavender once again. Even better shot from Stevens. Unable to break out as St. Mike's. Karis Kale is able to keep it in, only temporarily. As finally the puck does cross the blue line with 13 minutes left to go. Boy, sloppy turnover there. Lexi Soon finds it in the offensive zone, but is unable to outrace Tallulah Cameron and Karis Kale. Rose looks to gather it up in her defensive zone. Bank pass for Tallulah Cameron. Ends up going back out. And Callie Boychuk with a head of steam. Boy, lots of energy from Callie Boychuk, and kind of as expected, a lot of tired legs it seems like for St. Mike's here in the third period. Boy, Peyton Tully tried the long shot attempt, moving the opposite direction and missed just wide. Back towards the blue line, Lily Zoner, she tries the wrist shot. That one saved by Lavender. The rebound chance, unable to get the shot off, was Emma Hain. Lily Zoner circling, driving, shooting, and missing the net. Going around the other way and actually tied up back behind the net. It's Emerson McGillis for St. Mike's and a couple of Eagles forwards. McGillis comes away with it. Tries to get it out of the defensive zone and is able to do so, but unable to find a streaking Isabel Gooley. Instead, the puck goes back behind the net of Lavender. Brandon Brown calling for a line change. Isabel Gooley with a beautiful move in between her own legs to enter the offensive zone, but still going up against two Eagles defenders, and Patfield forces the turnover. Tristan Curry into her offensive zone. She gets around a couple of defenders on the net, and a save by Lavender, but one of the better moves we've seen from Curry this year. Around the boards it goes. St. Mike's trying to get it out of there. Unable to do so. Great play from Ruby Mitchell on the forecheck to keep it in. 11:22 left to go in this third period. Curry unable to fight for that puck. St. Mike's moving right to left with it. Still no shots on goal here in the third period for St. Mike's. Curry cuts it off at neutral ice, sends it back on net, and will continue to play on here with 11 minutes left to go. Boy, Eagles on the forecheck here in the third has been a fun story to follow, and it continues as McCavikis tries to get that shot off. Looked like she just missed the net a little wide. Through the crease. Unable to gather the rebound was Selena, and now coming right to left is Audrey Hedman and the Purple Knights into her offensive zone. Once again, a great back check, though, by the Eagles' alternate captain, McCavikis. Shot into the far corner by Maddie Noonan. Eagles looking to switch over to that forecheck. They do so and are able to gather up possession now back in their own defensive zone. Long up ice pass. Boy, but Maddie Noonan tried to play it quickly, and Audrey Hetman was able to force the turnover. Bang pass into the offensive zone, but nobody there for St. Mike's yet again. Peterson up the ice. Noonan into her offensive zone. Tries to find another pass. Ends up going to Devlin, and that shot gets saved by Lavender as she covers up the rebound. A bunch of Eagles, a bunch of Purple Knights getting into some extracurriculars heavy right next to the net of Annika Lavender. One of the more fiery little post-whistle bouts we've seen in the Nuha this year. At the very least here in Shelton, we might have a penalty coming up. It was Lexi Soon who was in there for St. Mike's. And yeah, it does look like we have a penalty going against the Purple Knights here with 10:07 to go. It's Emerson McGillis for cross-checking at 9:53 here in the third period. So the Eagles now will get an opportunity to take the lead. So far in this game, Post University, well, they're 1 for 3 on the power play, and this will be their first here in the third period. They have gathered all of the momentum here in this third. 14-0, the shots on goal total. And remember, St. Mike's is the only team with a power play in this period. Looks like Megan Sweezy, second-year head coach for St. Mike's, getting an explanation on the call from some of the referees. So we'll see if the Eagles can take advantage late in this game. Jet Devlin in the circle. Tie up on the faceoff, and it goes post's way. Emma Hain towards the net, takes the shot. That one gets blocked. A beautiful block that time. Isabel Gooley sacrificing her body. Emma Hain going to reset back behind the net. Looked like it was Gooley once again, just really trying to put some pressure on the forecheck. It doesn't work out. Hain into the offensive zone, circling back behind the net of Lavender, now looking for a lane to pass to. Back up towards the blue line. This is Karis Kale, drop pass for Hain. Hain towards the left slot, Maddie Noonan into the slot. Another shot on goal. Devlin doesn't come away with it. A second chance goes off the post. Boy, Selena Mikavicus with a great A opportunity, and the goalie's best friend in the post says no. Another chance for Karis Kale. That one more easily stopped aside. Wraparound try. Boy, Lavender standing on her head right now, and the puck stays out of the net. Unbelievable, but the hand gets raised. A woman's down right in front of the net of Lavender. And we'll see what the call is. Boy, Annika Lavender, take a bow with one of the best sequences of saves you'll see all season long to keep this game tied up at 1 apiece. And the penalty is going to go against Selena Mikavicus, and we'll have a 4-on-4 coming up. Boy, this sport is amazing. With 9:15 left to go in the period, it should theoretically take us to our media timeout, but with the sequence that we just saw, I don't blame anyone for wanting to keep this game going. So it'll be a 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 8 seconds, and then St. Mike's will have 52 seconds of a power play, which will be their 6th of the game. Tessa Moore, long shot off the draw, easily gobbled aside from Devin Amundsen, and that's the first shot on goal this period for St. Mike's. It takes us to our media timeout with 9:08 left to go in the third. We've got a fun one here in Shelton. It's 1-1. Just kidding. The buzzer pump fakes me, and we're back here in Shelton. 9:08 left to go in the period. I swear I heard the media timeout buzzer there, but I guess not. Going to have to check that back in the footage when we do get our actual media timeout. Instead, still 4-on-4 here. Eagles moving left to right. Timmery Grom past the blue line, looking for a lane, and tries to hand it off to Karis Kale. Good defensive stick from Audrey Hetman to get in the way of that one. Mikavicus back to Hain. Hain getting handled. Alicia McDonald right there yet again. Physical play, nothing called. This has been a fun game here in the third period. Moore finds Shadle, who sends it across the ice for Hetman. Beautiful lead pass from Shadle to Hetman there, and a great play defensively from Lily Zoner to force the turnover. 12 seconds left to go before this turns into a power play for St. Mike's. Zoner with a bank pass to herself, while the rest of her teammates get a change off. 2 seconds, 1 second, we're officially on the power play. A great opportunity here for Kyler Weatherred. The drop pass and a shot on goal, saved by Devin Amundsen. Another chance, and that one gobbled up and pushed aside by Amundsen yet again. Now in the near corner, Brianna Jarvis sends it down low. Back to Jarvis as she was driving towards the net. Good defensive play by Tristan Curry to take her down. Up top, Lexi Soon. She tries the wrist shot. That one misses wide right. Back into the far corner. Rebound gathered by Fitzgibbon. And 7-on-7 crime here. Karis Kale pins her up against the boards. Fitzgibbon back up towards the blue line. Jarvis couldn't handle it cleanly. It trickles out of the offensive zone, and with less than 10 seconds left to go, that's going to do it on the 6th power play of the game for St. Mike's. Short-handed, a good opportunity there for Tristan Curry, and an easy save for Lavender. Bank shot out of the defensive zone. St. Mike's were able to get some shots on goal on that power play, and now looking to continue on some of that momentum, really their first bit of it here in the third. Maddie Noonan, she enters the offensive zone. She tries the shot, but doesn't go. Rebound chance on the slap shot that time, taken from Mikavicus, easily gloved and gobbled by Lavender. I once again heard the media timeout buzzer, but I'm refusing to go to commercial break until I get it confirmed. And it looks like we will. Okay, 6:51 left to go in the third period on the rocky road to the finish. Tied at 1 apiece between St. Mike's and Post University. 6 minutes and 51 seconds left to go in what has been a very exciting hockey game between St. Mike's and Post University. Face-off coming to the left of Annika Lavender in the offensive zone of the Eagles, and Devlin wins it for Post. Emma Hain, bang pass up for Mikavakis. Now Mikavakis has that pass attempt intercepted, and going the other way is St. Mike's. Brianna Jarvis, drop pass, but that one gets turned over. Emma Hain forces the play as she takes a shot. That one shouldered it in! Emma Hain with the go-ahead goal, and it's 2-1 Eagles. Felt like it was only a matter of time for Emma Hain and this Post team to take the lead, and Hain continues her red-hot streak, both against St. Mike's and against all Nuha opponents, as the Eagles finally take a 2-1 lead. For Emma Hain, her team-leading 6th goal of the year. The Eagles immediately win the faceoff at neutral ice, get back into the offensive zone, and try to continue on some of this momentum. Karis Kale gets tied up in that far corner, finds Callie Peterson. Now Mikavakis. Mikavakis and Peterson right there, and the puck does just clear the zone as Maddie Noonan touches back up. Long shot on goal, blocked down by Lavender, and now trying to reset and break out is St. Mike's. 6 minutes left to go in this final period. Now St. Mike's expect to see some added intensity from them here down a goal. And that might help their cause. It looks like there's going to be a penalty coming up after the last play. Well, actually might hurt their cause. I thought the penalty was going to be called against Post University. Instead, it's going to go up against Anna Gerolo. And it's a beautiful opportunity for Post to try to take a 2-goal advantage with all the momentum on their side. Emma Hain came into this game with 3 goals and 3 assists in her last 5 games, and that just improving here today with another goal and an assist. Back up top, Georgia Stevens. She tries the long wrister. Might have been intended as a pass, but either way goes into the far corner. Tied up right at the blue line in front of the Purple Knights bench, Lily Zoner. Timmery Grom falls down to the ice. Now Tristan Curry tries to handle it for the Eagles, ends up going all the way down the other end and cleared by St. Mike's. 1:32 left to go with the woman advantage. Penalty assessed to Anna Gerolo. Grom with a head of steam, past the blue line she goes. Tries to find Tristan Curry on the pass attempt. Instead, it's Isabel Gooley with the interception. Now into the offensive zone, 1 against 4 for Gooley, and she has it taken away from her. Stevens forces the turnover. Now Tristan Curry. Curry along this near slot. Now into the near corner. Gets hammered into the boards by McGillis. Under 5 minutes left to go here in the third. Jody Rose back up top for Emma Hain. Hain driving towards the net, getting around a defender. Tries the backhanded shot, and that one left just above the net of Annika Lavender. Tie up behind her net. Looks like Timmery Grom is in there defensively, and it ends up going the Eagles' way, even though they're getting a change in. Still with possession is Jody Rose. Pass gets deflected, and that's going to be an easy hand pass call against Emerson McGillis. So 4:27 left to go in this third. 33 seconds left on the power play. So talk about Emma Hain, 6 points in her last 5 games. So now make it 8 points in her last 6 games. Even though she had her 4-game point streak snapped last time out, looking to start a new one here today. And boy, she has put the Eagles on her back at times this season. Most likely going to be the first star of the game today if everything holds true. Karis Kale gets past Alicia McDonald. Past the blue line. Tries to find Maddie Noonan, but the pass left just a little too hard for Noonan. Couple of players go down to the ice in the near corner. A hand gets raised. And we're going to have a cross-checking penalty called with 5 seconds left on the power play for Post University. And it looks like it's going against St. Mike's and Alicia McDonald. So call it a 5-second, 5-on-3 opportunity for the Eagles before it turns into another power play. And that's half the time that's left in this game gone for Megan Sweezy and the Purple Knights. Eagles trying to sort out who's going to go on the ice for this short 5-on-3. Looks like they have it figured out. St. Mike's probably just going to try to tie up off the faceoff, and that they do, but the Eagles end up winning it. And we're officially on the 5-on-4. Emma Hain pass into the slot, deflects a couple of times. Lavender comes up with a couple of great saves to keep this game, to keep the Purple Knights down by 1. Last shot attempt went up and out of play. 1:47 left to go on the power play. And boy, I wonder what the strategy is here for Megan Sweezy and crew. Down a woman, try to force your way into the offensive zone with possession. You don't necessarily want to clear the puck because you're really looking for an opportunity to get Lavender out of the net. Over to the near side, Karis Kale. She tries the shot. That one blocked by McGillis, and out of the offensive zone it goes. Not quite at the point of an empty net possibility yet. And maybe you can waste the whole power play, but that's going to leave you with just a bit under 2 minutes to go, and who knows if you'll have possession. Karis Kale past the blue line. Stops on a dime along these near boards. Now Timmery Grom had it, but a good defensive play. It was Julia Shadle getting her stick in the way. Emma Hain back for Karis Kale. She tries the shot. That one gloved down and easily saved by Lavender once again. Eagles getting the platoon swap in. New power play group, and therefore a new penalty killing group out there for St. Mike's as well. Jody Rose in the face-off circle for Post University to the left of Annika Lavender. She wins it for the Eagles. Stevens now across the ice for Zoner. Good puck movement here for the Eagles. Back to Stevens. To the near side. That was Timmery Grom, and now a couple of chances for Post. Don't know if anything's getting on net. It's a bunch of bodies, including a couple of St. Mike's defenders in there, and ultimately gets out of danger for now. Stevens with a wrist shot. That one deflects off the glass, up and above the net of Lavender with 40 seconds left to go on the power play. Tie up along these near boards, and the puck does just trickle out of the defensive zone of St. Michael's. Boy, slow to get up. Looking for a number. Looked like it was Lily Hartnell, though, who got hammered down to the ground and now gingerly made her way back to the bench, able to get off on this penalty kill with 20 seconds left to go. Rose in the far corner, back to Zoner. Zoner, she tries the wrist shot. That one went off the body of her teammate Patfield right in front. Now Audrey Hetman there to gather up the loose puck. Just about 2 minutes left to go in this game, and another penalty is called. We'll see who ends up going to the box this time. Does look like it's going to go against Riley Patfield of Post University. So if you were Megan Sweezy, you were looking for an opportunity. Here it comes. Well, actually, no. Excuse me. Patfield's going back to the bench. And I was mistaken. It looked like Patfield was getting escorted over to the penalty box. Instead, it's Emerson McGillis going back to the penalty box for St. Mike's. And boy, from bad to worse for the Purple Knights here in the third period. Another 5-on-3 here for 4 seconds or so before it turns into a power play. Before it turns into just a regular power play, I should say, for Post. Brandon Brown getting an explanation. And Riley Patfield looks like she's coming back out on the ice. Well, and now Patfield is going off to the box. So it is going to be a double penalty here. One on Emerson McGillis and one on Riley Patfield. Lots of whistles in this game, to say the least. It's been fun nevertheless. 2 minutes left to go in this one. So it's technically a 4-on-3 for the Eagles, as there's still confusion here between the referees and the official scorers and the coaches and the players. And it's supposed to be a 4-on-3 according to the scoreboard, but there's 5 Eagles out on the ice right now and 4 Eagles on the ice, or 4 Purple Knights on the ice for St. Mike's. Looking around, trying to get some kind of explanation from anyone up in the press box, but I don't think any of us really understand it either way. So rather than a 4-on-3, despite the multiple penalties being assessed, there's 5 Eagles out on the ice. And everyone's kind of just looking back towards the scoreboard here, trying to figure it out. Rough timing, to say the least, for a stoppage like this with just about 2 minutes to go left in this game in a 2-1 game. There might be 3 penalties called at once, but the scoreboard here is changing left and right, left and right. Nobody really understands what's going on, so I'm going to take a quick break while we let the referees try to sort this out. So you've been watching Post University Women's Hockey. All right, so the whistle has blown. It's 2:02 left to go in this third period. It's a 5-on-4 on the ice with no penalties up on the board, so safe to say everyone's a little confused. But now somebody comes out of the box and it's back to a 5-on-5. A couple of shots on goal. Lavender keeps this at a 1-goal game, trying to just save that bouncing puck up in the air. Ends up going St. Mike's way. Seemingly, we're back at even strength between these two teams, and that's an icing, so that confirms it. There are 2 players, one on each side in the penalty box here, so you got to assume it was a major for fighting is the only thing I could think of that would still have 5-on-5 in there. Interesting. I've never seen a fighting penalty before in NCAA women's hockey, but first time for everything. Face-off coming up to the right of Lavender here. Won by the Eagles. Emma Hain dances around a defender, now dragging it to the left slot and back behind Lavender's net. Circling, looking for a lane, getting harassed. That's Elizabeth Garraby defensively in there. Ultimately, Hain looks like she's going to turn it over, finds a way to tie up the puck along the near boards, and eventually Audrey Hetman comes away with it. Now time to look towards the net of St. Michael's and see if they'll end up evacuating Lavender. But instead, it's Selena Mikavakis not giving her the opportunity to do just that. Mikavakis into the offensive zone, has it taken away from her. But again, Eagles almost able to retain possession. Finally, Audrey Hetman settles it down. Under a minute left to go in the game. Eagles looking to hang on to their 1-goal lead. And there goes Lavender to the bench. Extra skater on for St. Michael's. But the Eagles with possession back behind their own net. And we'll see how they decide to play this. An interesting scenario for Sweezy. But, hey, you got to roll the dice at some point. And still in their offensive zone, trying to keep it in as Fitzgibbon, unable to do so, and gathered up by Julia Shadle. 33 seconds left to go in the period. Mikavakis with the long shot off the post. Ends up staying at a 1-goal game. A whistle gets blown. Looks like we have a skater down over in the far corner in Jet Devlin. Looking to see what the signal is. Might have just been a type of hand pass or something, but either way, a timeout is called by Megan Sweezy. So we'll take a timeout as well. 27.4 left to go. Eagles looking to hang on to their 1-goal lead. Purple Knights coming back from their timeout, looking to try to even up this game. Annika Lavender goes back towards her net, so it'll be 5 skaters against 5, at least for the time being. It hasn't felt like that all game long. 14 combined penalties between these two squads, 7 apiece in this game, and actually Megan Sweezy changes her mind. So Lavender goes back to the bench now. 6 skaters on for St. Mike's, and a neutralized face-off here. Ends up going St. Michael's way, goes back towards the net and just a little bit wide of it. Still 2-1, 20 seconds low to go in this game. Back out of the defensive zone of the Purple Knights. Back in it goes thanks to Lily Zoner. Gathering it is Fitzgibbon, looking for a long lane to pass to. Ends up taking a funny bounce off the boards. Eagles with possession. They're just going to tie it up in the near corner. Back out towards the blue line, and that's going to do it for Game 1 here in Shelton. What a game it was between the Purple Knights and your Eagles, as the Eagles snap their 3-game losing streak and take it by a score of 2-1. Devin Amundsen getting all the love right now from her teammates back right in front of her crease, including Hannah Saunders and Alex Young, the 2 other netminders, and close group, I got to imagine. Boy, what a fun game this has been between these two squads. St. Mike's really brought a ton of pressure today, despite only having 1 win this series. They brought it, especially in the early parts of that game. Give you the total stats in this one. Final score 2-1 in favor of Post University. Ended up outshooting St. Michael's 60-22 in terms of the shots on goal. And Post had 101 shots total in this game against St. Mike's. Boy, you got to feel for Annika Lavender a bit in net, who really stood on her head at many times, but in the second and third period just faced a flurry of shots from Post University and really just couldn't do much about it. 14 combined penalties between these two squads today, 7 on each side, including what looked like a major for fighting at the very end there. Face-off battle ended up going to the Eagles 33-17. And of course, the scoring plays in this one. It started back in the first period. Anna Gerolo for St. Mike's getting her first of the season on the power play, and that made it 1-0 heading into the second period. But it was Selena McCavikis getting back on the board for Post University, making it 1-1, also on the power play. And then late in the third, just over 13 minutes gone in the final period of play, who else but Emma Hain with an amazing goal. Finally, it felt like she had a lot of grade A opportunities throughout the day, and Hain was able to take advantage late in the third. That put the Eagles up 2-1 and ultimately found them getting their second victory here in the New Year's. Taking a look at the stats for Devin Amundsen real quick. She ended up facing 22 shots on goal today, stopped 21 of them. So a very good game for the backup netminder. And hey, for Brandon Brown, who was a collegiate goalie himself here at Post University, it's got to feel great to have a goalie room of Hannah Saunders and Devin Amundsen. Of course, we haven't really seen a whole lot of Alex Young this year, but expect to see her more so in the future. Of course, here in Shelton, it's a 2-1 final score in favor of Post University, and we still got our interviews with our players of the game coming up next, so don't go anywhere as our post-game show will continue. So you've been watching Post University Women's Hockey. Let's do it. All right, Eagles fans, and welcome back. I'm joined alongside one of our 2 players of the game today, Emma Hain. And Emma, congratulations.
Thank you.
First thing first, I want to ask you, it feels like you've been on fire lately. 8 points in your last 6 games. So just tell me, after being a transfer in here, I feel like it must have taken your time to find your groove. But, man, the last, 4 weeks or so, you've been on fire. What's that been like?
Well, transferring in, it was kind of hard, but I had a great leadership team who helped me kind of ease into the process. And then obviously my roommates, they were kind of like showing me the ropes and just getting me introduced to other people, because it is somewhat of a small campus, so like everyone does know everyone at the end of the day. But they were really great about that. And then just for like you said, being on fire, I try to simplify my game, just simply get it out of the D zone and then try and work from there. Not everything has to be very fancy. Obviously, I'll make mistakes here and there, but you can only do so much.
Yeah, and as a team right now, it felt like the simple approach, worked and then some tonight. You guys were on fire, especially defensively. In the third period, 7 total shots, 2 on goal allowed for St. Michael's. Just as a defenseman yourself, how does that feel? You guys got to be proud of that stat, I imagine.
Oh, we're very proud. We have this energy. We call it the Bruz energy. So on the bench, we're always trying to just keep each other positive. We obviously have a very communicative goalie, Devin. She's very loud. She's very telling us what she wants from us. And I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to who's willing to sacrifice himself. I know, like, number 19, Timmery, she blocked a handful of shots today. So it really just depends how badly you want it. And I think our team really thought about it. After, like, the 3-game losing streak, we really wanted to turn around. We kind of had, like, an internal look to kind of put these 10 games on our roster and hopefully get wins for all of them.
Yeah, and it's looking that way. Especially right before the New Year's, you guys were on fire. And then now 2-2 in the New Year's as well, so continuing that throughout 2026. Man, I want to, guys, ask you, finally ending the Schneid. It was a short losing streak, but one that I know you guys are happy to get off your shoulders. And so just how good does it feel to end that streak? Also in a game that looked really chippy, at least from up here, going especially down towards that end of the ice in Lavender.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I have to give credit to Annika. She's one of my friends. She's a great goaltender.
Yeah.
And we always try to take every team with no light digress. We obviously know, like, granted, if they're at the bottom, but they still can prove that they are worth it. Hence, they were up 1-0 after the first. But to be honest, it really just came down to everyone. I think we all just kind of figured out, like, after the second period, we had to just do what we needed to do to get the win. If that meant getting red and deep and just chasing it, then that means we have to take some hits being gritty.
Sounds great. It's always D1 hockey, right? Don't matter who you're playing. So thank you so much, Emma. I really appreciate it. We'll be back with Devin Amundsen in just a second.
Oh, hello.
And welcome back, Eagles fans. I'm joined by our second of 2 players of the game, the starting netminder tonight, Devin Amundsen. Devin, actually, first question I want to ask you. First start in quite a long time. I believe Hannah had 15 in a row. So what was that like, just trying to stay ready today? And ultimately, only 1 goal allowed. It ended up playing more than successfully, I should say.
It was obviously, like, in any situation, like, being a little cold and, like, not playing in a while, it's hard to, like, find a groove. Like, obviously, like, playing back-to-back, you can build. So it's kind of like starting fresh. But, and we had Christmas break, so it's been, like, a few months. But, so, yeah, I was, like, a little nervous. But I think, like, I've just been, like, keeping ready at practice. And I think, like, going into this game, like, not taking them lightly and, like, taking them as if they were, like, a team, like, an out-of-conference team and, like, playing them the same as we would play, like, a really good team. So I had that mindset. I was, like, super locked in, and I didn't take them lightly. Like, I didn't at once think I was going to, like, go in there and, like, win. I think that was, like, really important.
Especially in that first period, it really felt like you couldn't take them lightly.
No.
They came out a little bit on fire, but you were able to really hold your own there and keep your team in the game. And ultimately, the offense really came out second half of the second and third. I want to talk about your defenders in front of you. I just asked one of them earlier, but 7 shots total in the third period, 2 shots on goal. Now, I know in the first period it was a lot. In the third period, was it a little bit of a day off? And how awesome was that feeling?
It was so good also to see them, like, progress through the game. Like, in the beginning, I was like, it's a different team. It's, like, a different style than, like, we played Franklin Pierce last weekend. I think they were a bit faster, so it pushed us to, like, do better right away. But, yeah, the third period, they honestly, like, I was so proud of them. I was, like, down there, and I'm just yelling and, like, screaming, and I'm, like, make sure that, like, someone doesn't pop up. But they were doing amazing blocking, like, keeping it in and, like, back-checking so hard. Like, Karis Kale, like, her back-check, like, there could have been, like, 3 breakaways, I feel like, and she's, like, just always going, and so I got to give her credit, to be honest. She's, like, one of our puts everything on the line for us.
Core defenders,
Yeah.
I would say. Absolutely. No, and that back check that you mentioned, it's going to stand out as
Yeah.
one of the plays of the year.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
at least to me, it would stand out that way. You know, continuing on the losing streak, I just asked Emma Hain about it. Just what a feeling it must be to snap a 3-game losing streak, especially with you and Net, first
Yeah.
time in 15 games.
Yeah.
It's got to be a source of pride, so to speak.
Yeah, no, it was good. I think we didn't think about like the losing streak. Like we didn't think of this as like a must win. We were like, honestly, let's just play good, see what
Yeah.
happens. Like that's how you have to play games against like any team, but especially like a team that's ranked bottom, because sometimes that can stand out to people. So I think we did a really good job of like preparing and then growing like throughout the game. Like we just got better and better, and so by the end, like we were dominating.
Absolutely. Well, Devin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
All right, so that's going to do it for our post-game show for us here at Shelton. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 2:45. But until then, for everyone else here at Post University, we say have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.